If you've ever seen or experienced high-level Overwatch, you will notice the abundance of Lucio. Yet, in the lower ranks, he has seen very little play. Today I want to explore the reason why Lucio is abused in the highest ranks through his insane skill and value ceiling, as well as look at what makes Lucio undervalued in the middle ranks. Firstly, what is Lucio's value? It's a very basic question we need to answer. Speed is an essential resource, especially as Lucio is able to provide it without a cooldown and indefinitely. Speed makes rotations of yourself and teammates quicker and easier. Speed can also help you disengage from the enemy team's push or your team engage into the enemies. No other hero is able to provide this instantaneous speed. Then on a more macro level, Lucio is super strong at controlling lanes/angles. He can take an off angle with a hit scan DPS and control that space. Now, Brigitta's also good at this, but where Lucio has break beat is again because of speed. Lucio can consistently disengage and re-engage, kite out and then push back in. For example, you may be on an angle with an Ashe, you're supporting, shooting, the usual stuff. Someone starts to dive you too, you can then boot back the target creating space and use speed to kite yourselves out, heal up and re-engage within seconds. Brig can create the distance with the whip shot and bash out to create even more distance, but then she kind of has to wait for her cooldowns or shield health to come back up before she can retake that space. She works way more as an incredible anchor. She anchors down angles, but she's cooldown bound and shield health bound. Once Brig's been pushed out, it's incredibly hard for her to retake that space. Lucio, however, who is very similar to Tracer in this regard, is a pest. He is constantly able to make you work for the angle. He also has the ability to help disengage your teammate or engage your teammate. No other hero can do that. This is where Lucio's value lies. Instant access to speed and ability to consistently control lanes. So, why do the low ranks hate Lucio then? I mean, they don't hate him, but he is very underplayed and not wanted that often. A lot of metal ranks, at least from what I've seen, heard and experienced, really do not enjoy having Lucio on their team. Now, part of this is not understanding what Lucio provides, and the other part is how difficult Lucio is to play. Because you know that your gold Lucio most likely is not going to be able to pilot the character. All the value points I just made previously are stuff that not many people may understand or even notice happening across a lot of these lower average ranks. That is not to say that these people are stupid. It's more of they don't maybe think about the wider game. They're more think about their character and they're more focused on having fun. And so they're not going to pay attention to necessarily what their Lucio is able to provide. This makes playing with Lucio feel weird if you don't understand what he's providing to the team. And additionally, Lucios don't typically have the best stats. They aren't top in damage charts or healing loads because their value is not in the raw numbers. But it's far easier when you're having a bad game to press tab and just blame the person with the lowest numbers. Additionally, Lucio is a very difficult hero and a very difficult hero to get value on. And people know this. So when you get a Lucio on your team in gold, you may feel that you would much rather have any other support on your team, even if you still would have won with a Lucio. There's also a big visual perception of the value gap between Lucio and other heroes. What I mean by this is Suzu, Nade, Sleep, and Lamp, just to name a few, are incredibly instantaneous high value cooldowns. They are huge bursts of value. Lucio is a hero that provides a much more consistent source of value that adds up over the course of a fight. Your Ana could be hard trolling and then hit a 5-man anti-nade, and you would think that she was doing a lot for the team. Whereas Lucio could be full tryharding, and you might not even be able to tell. This creates a big gap in what is actually happening and the gap that is most notably present to people in these medal ranks. I want to also talk about the intense skill ceiling that Lucio has, which is a big factor into why he's so present in high ranks and professional play. He's a hero with an enormous amount of skills that can be pushed to almost an infinite degree. Even just looking at mechanical stuff like aiming and war riding has far more to be learned than most heroes in the game. He has one of the weirdest primary fires I think in the entire game, that no matter how good of an aimer you are, it's going to take you a very long time to get consistent with this gun at all ranges. And then war riding is probably one of the most insane things I have ever learned in a video game. One of the most unique, fluid, and intense movement schemes just ever made. And the best of the best players are just pushing this war riding to the absolute limit, being untouchable, getting to places instantaneously, and just moving around the map being a nuisance. Then you tan in that with aura usage, amp timing, the theory of just positioning, and lots of other macro level stuff, he becomes a hyper complicated hero. Being able to consistently execute these different areas of the hero makes you a vital part of a team, hence why we see so much Lucio in pro play. No other hero is able to do what he can do as well as he can do it. The best players understand this, and they are squeezing everything out of him. This is why Lucio scales so heavily with coordination. Even when I'm playing in just a Masters low GM lobby with a friend, the character already becomes even greater just because there's that little level of coordination. The better your team is at understanding tempo, spacing, and cooldown cycles, the more valuable speed becomes compared to just raw healing output. When you compare a gold Lucio to even just a Masters Lucio, they aren't even functioning like the same hero. You have one player that is mostly on the floor, stacking main, focused on healing the whole time. And then the other player has a perfected rollout for each map, is constantly bouncing off the walls, being unpredictable, and utilizing the war ride for faster rotations. They know how to almost perfectly time their speed engagements, and they're contesting flankers. I don't mean this in any way to put down lower ranks with any of this. I just want to highlight the clear-cut difference between the ranks of this hero. If you were to do this exact same thing with a hero like Ashe, Cassidy, or Soldier, the differences are still largely apparent. You know, the Masters Ashe would clearly just be hitting more shots, taking better angles, but the character is still functioning the same. It's still someone standing somewhere and shooting people. With Lucio, it is genuinely night and day. It is two different heroes. Lucio is absolutely abused at the highest ranks, while ignored below that. And that's okay. It's what makes him special, and what makes him fun and so rewarding to learn. If you want to learn and play Lucio, go for it. I could not recommend a hero more. I've had a blast while learning him. But I hope I've given an understanding of the effectiveness. I hope I've given an understanding of the effectiveness of Lucio and what happens when his ceiling is pushed to the limit. He's one of the most unique and fun heroes Overwatch has to offer. I personally find it a pleasure to see him in pro play, even though it is seemingly every single game. I could never grow tired of good Lucio players. Thank you very much. If you watched the whole thing, a little shorter than maybe I expected, but I don't like to stretch everything out too much. But if you enjoyed this, you'll probably like all the other stuff I do. But yeah, go ahead and go enjoy those. And of course, have a great day. Thank you for watching.